Making models that are predominantly black or dark models can be really, really different. Spider Noir from CA3D is a classic example. The whole model is a very, very dark model, and it is supposed to be. So we need to breathe a little bit of life into it. I'll show you today how I've done the CA3D Spider Noir model, and I hope you like it. It certainly hasn't come without some difficulties in the printing process, which again, we'll talk about as we go through. Stay tuned. So this is the file we're going to be making. It's the Spider Noir by CA3D, and they've got a Patreon, they've got on Gumroad. Just do a little search for them. Now I'm going to make it using this Supreme Orange Bronze Logic, and I made a bit of a boo-boo here. It's the first time I've used this colour resin, and I assumed that the settings would be very similar to the grey one that I've used by Logic. So I popped it on my Anycubic P1 Max, used the same settings as I used for the grey, big mistake there, and printed it off. And straight away I could see that I'd had a couple of failures, the cape had split, but more importantly, I couldn't get the blooming thing off the build plate. It had welded to the build plate, and I had a few breakages doing that. Now I didn't follow my own advice, so I did a video trying to explain how you do make sure that the base layers on your print are fine. I should have followed my own advice. I didn't, but I did make a video. Make sure you check it out. I'll link it in the description so you won't make the mistakes I've made. I took the parts that had failed and I went to my trusty RS Turbo, used some of their PAF 10 resin, and using their own resin, using their own settings, using their own slicer, of course it came out perfectly and it oozed off the build plate. There are benefits to using a closed locked ecosystem such as the Hagears one. You tend to get pretty perfect results every single time. Talking about a closed system, kind of, I did all the base in one single plate on the P1 Max, and I used their very own Anycubic grey, and again I had perfect results. Everything printed beautifully and everything came off the build plate beautifully as well. Again, you know, using the right resin, using the right settings is the absolute key. And when you use those closed systems like Hagears or Anycubic as an example, and you use their very own resins as well, everything kind of tends to work. Right? What I didn't show you was me sanding it down and getting rid of some of the little support bits that are left behind, but what I am showing you is me gluing it together, because there are going to be some gaps, and the gaps I'm going to fill with this Fun Cricole light curing putty. I'll put some links in the description where you can get this from. Now this comes in two forms. This comes in the really hard, stiff, kind of thick form that I'm using here, and it also comes in a syringe, more watery kind of fillable. I'll put the links for both of them, but this was the thick one, and once you put it on and you've smudged it into all the gaps and it smears into the gaps wonderfully, just cure it in your curing station and you are done. It goes rock hard, and then you can spray it. Now to spray this is a black model, so we need to change up the black a little bit. So I'm using two blacks. I'm using a bit more of a shiny one, and I'm going to use the Army Painter base one. Now for the shiny one, I'm going to be using it for the leather. So I've glued the arms on, and I've glued his belt on the back of his jacket and his cape, so all the top parts together, and I'm going to give this a coat across with the glossy one to make it look a little bit more leathery. There's other parts of him as well that are going to be leathery, like the boots. They're getting exactly the same of the coating of this paint, and his hat also is getting exactly the same. I'm going to then move on to the Army Painter. This is a wonderful primer, but it's more of a matte colour, and I'm going to do the legs in this because I want them to dry a slightly different colour to the jacket. Again, we're working with black, so we just want to try and make it not look all the same. And of course I've done his face on there, and the detail on this sculpt is just beautiful. Now to jiggle up the black a little bit, I'm using some of this grey from the Army Painter, and all I'm going to do is just go over some of the highlights of where the light would naturally hit him. It's almost a zenithal, almost. I don't want to turn him grey, I just want to add that real light grey hue to the black areas, just to make them a little bit more interesting and take away from the starkness of the dark colour that is going to be Spider Noir. He is going to be black, of course he is, but I just want to give him a little bit more life. So some of the higher points are getting some of the grey, and not too much. Don't want to turn him grey, I just want to literally give him a highlight and touch him up in a few places. Same again with other bits of him, like the hat. Again, you can go a little bit careful on this. I'm just using this very precisely to go around the edge of the hat, around the outer parts. I'm also going to do some dry brushing on this later. Now for some oak brown for the base, and I'm going to go over the woodworks bits. And of course I didn't show you me matte blacking the base, but you get the gist. I've just given it an army painter black all the way across before I've taken this kind of brown colour and just gone over all the wood effects on there. I've got some Cardray grey now just to bring back the windows. What I could have done, and I thought about this afterwards, I could have printed this section of it in a clear. Maybe you want to do that so that you, and then mask it off when you paint the rest of it so you've got some clear glass. But I quite like the fact that it's going to look grey, it's going to look drab. The base looks pretty drab, which I like. I think it's a noir colour. His eyes, now for this I used that same grey to give it the eyes. I feel a stark white painting job would look good, so I sprayed it in to give it a little bit of an opaque kind of spread look. Next I took some of this Kaleido metal colour and I've just coloured in the lettering on the base. It should say daily, but the I didn't print, and I never picked up the I didn't print until the end really, which I was a bit disappointed about. But what I did do is I made it good, and I'll show you why. Next, a bit of earth shade, and just went over the wood with this just to darken it up a little bit, just to give the wood a little bit of life. And I also went over the lettering with this as well, just to give those a little bit more interest too. That's the D, A and the Y, and there's a letter already on the base which got exactly the same treatment. Next I took a bit of dungeon highlight, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the brush stage, and I'm going to dry brush this across the base. There's lots of rubbly bits and stone across the base, so I'm going to bring that base back to life a little bit by giving it a dry brush across with this kind of grey colour. I felt grey was the right colour here to just give it some interest, if you will, and that's once the grey's on and the wood effects are on. And already you can see that this is starting to look a bit more appealing. But we're going to throw some colour in there. We're going to take a blue colour, and I'm just going to lightly dry brush across a Rubik's Cube. And I haven't seen the series yet. When I made this video it wasn't out, so I have no idea why there's a Rubik's Cube in there, but there is. So obviously I took a blue, I've took a red to give it another one of the sides, and I want to almost dry brush it on there so the blocks of colour aren't too stark. They look a little bit shaded. And again with the yellow, exactly the same thing. You get the gist, don't you? Just put a few bright colours on, and that's there to make it stand out, to make it stick out a little bit. Next I found this headline on Google, and I popped it into my 2D printer and I shrunk the image down. I wasn't quite sure how big I wanted to make this, but I wanted to make like a newspaper to go in place of where the missing eye was on Daily Bugle. So I've just printed this out on normal printer paper, got the size that I wanted, cut it out with a pair of skizzles, and once it's cut out, and it's really easy to make this look like a newspaper, I'm just going to crunch it all up and juggle it up a little bit, and then I'm going to see where I'm going to put it on the base, and I'm just going to make sure that it goes in the right place. I'm not going to finish it just yet, and you'll see why. Next, a little bit of panel liner just to give the Rubik's Cube a little bit of definition in the gaps. So I just put that on and dab that off again just to get rid of any splodges, and then I took a little bit of a silver colour to paint some of the metalwork sticking out of the base. There's not too much to do on this base. We're not far off finished, to be absolutely honest. And once all the metalwork was painted, there's a couple of bits that are sticking out on the top and on the side. I took some of this flesh wash, went back to the newspaper, and I just glued it in place where I want it. Again, it's where the eye should have been in Daily, and I forgot to print it, so we're going to use this to mask it, and I'm just going to paint that over it. And now I think that looks amazing, adds a little bit more to the base, a little bit more character, a little tiny bit more colour, and just fits in with the genre. The next thing I did was I just searched something for some typed paper. You'll see why in a second. Again on Google, found something that looked ye olde and typed, printed it out till I got the size that I wanted on my normal 2D printer. And once I'd got that, there's the typewriter. Yeah, you got it. Look at that. The difference it's going to make to this typewriter when it's finished, just putting this proper typed page on there. And it was simple to do and easy. I'm going to use that silver again just to dry brush across the typewriter. I don't want that to stick out too much, but I don't want it to look too boring, so I'm just going to dry brush it across. Then I'm going to pop a bit of glue on, and I'm going to stick that typed word across it on there. And I think this again just makes the base look so much more interesting. The effect is incredible, and it's a piece of cake to do. It's simple. You saw me do it, and the effect you get when the typewriter's sat on the base is just incredible. It really does bring that simple thing, that typewriter, to life. Just glue it on the base where it's supposed to go, and on it goes, and in it's in, and that typewriter is on there. That base is it's nearly done, but I want to just tidy up a little bit. Get some dirty down rust, and I'm going to go back to the metalwork and just give that a rusty kind of paint all the way across. That just adds a little bit of interest, if you will, to the metalwork. Then I'm going to take some skeleton bone, and what I'm going to do with that, I'm just going to go over some of the woodwork, just some of the highest edges of the woodwork, just to bring that back, because we put a bit of Agrax Earthshade on it and it darkened it down a bit. So just going to bring some of the woodwork back to life with that skeleton bone, which is my favourite colour, before taking a bit of streaking grime and just putting this across the base in all sorts of areas. I did some at the top, on the bottom, on the sides. I didn't film the whole thing because you get the gist. Just pop it on, make it look like it's sitting in the cracks and the runs. If you want to add some water to your brush, this stuff really does just spread far and wide, and it gives you a wonderful effect on the base. Next, I took skeleton bone again and I popped it on a dry brush, and I used an old piece of 3D print to get the majority of the paint off, because what I did next was I got this and dry brushed it into all the folds of his costume again, just to make them look more interesting, just to highlight a few areas, just to make those folds look even more realistic, and on the where his knee is bent. You don't have to overdo this stage, you really don't, but it makes such a fabulous difference to the model, and it looks so good when it's done. So I did the same on his boots, made sure his laces look a little bit more colourful, and I went over the top of his shoes and around the sides. You get the gist, don't you? It's just bringing it all to life. The model is black. Black is boring. We just need to throw a little bit of shading in here and there, throw a little bit of colour in here and there, and it makes all the difference. Same on his jacket, I did exactly the same. This was done with a different paint, so it's got more of a leathery look to it, which I hope you can see there, but I still want it to look a little bit worn and folded and tatty in places. And could have used grey, would have got away with that, but I wanted to use skeleton bone just to give it that worn leather look, and again bring a little bit more interest to his costume. So giving that a blast all the way across, not doing it too much, but concentrating on the edges and the highlights, as you can see me doing here. Once that's done, onto his hat, and we're nearly finished. This wasn't a big model to paint. I'm going to do around the edges of his hat and make sure that all the highlighted points of that are done, and the only thing really left is his face. So again, I'm making sure there's no thick paint on that brush, skeleton bone, and I'm painting so you can see some of the webbing and some of the outline of his eyes and around his mask. And the only thing I did any different was a little bit of silver dry brush on the gun, and that's him done. It's about time we had a look at the CA3D Spider Noir. Hope you like it. So make sure you check my video out on base layer settings. If you get them wrong, the whole foundation of your model is thrown out, as you saw today. Now, it's not the fault of the P1 Max, it's not the fault of the Inslogic resin, it's down to the settings. And a lot here can be said about the fixed ecosystem settings, like you see in Hey Gears. I use their PAF 10, their Blueprint Slicer and their RS Turbo, and as you saw, the results were absolutely perfect. So you can get perfect results in these locked ecosystems, but obviously that's at a cost. But bear in mind, Hey Gears will very soon be opening up their slicer to open mode settings, so you can change settings if you so wish. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel, hit the notification bell, because I might have a bit of news about that coming very very soon. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen today. Let me know how you paint black or dark models. Do you use dark greens? Do you use dark greys? How do you give a bit of life to a black model? Let me know down below in the comments. Think about joining the Greedy 3D Patreon. Also, you would be more than welcome. Again, details are down below. Hope you've enjoyed that today. It's a wonderful model from CA3D. The TV series is about to start. I'm in the middle of May here now. You've probably already seen it when you watch this video, but I've not seen it yet, just the trailer, and I'm really excited to see Nicolas Cage in Spider Noir. Hope you've enjoyed that. I'll see you next time on Greedy 3D. Thank you for watching.